We are here to give you real news with commentary, live call-ins, and interviews with local guest speakers. Coming to you live stream via Facebook. Now, here's your county reporter, Michael Parker. Welcome to Branch.
Hey, good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to Branch County Conservative Patriot. This is Mike Parker. Interesting city council meeting on the 30th, and I wanted to actually touch base with a couple of things, even before we get started today. I know I was announcing a live stream on Sunday, which we will have, but there's a couple of things here in today's live stream that I want to address, and so this is being pre-recorded and uploaded. I've got so many things that I've got to do today. I just couldn't take the time to get away later on this afternoon to do a live stream. So it's live, but it's pre-recorded, if that makes any sense. So last night's, Monday night's, this is Wednesday. Monday night's city council meeting was quite interesting. To start things off, I usually show up, and I'm there usually a half hour early or so. You folks know that when you arrive, I'm usually there. I want to thank all the folks who came out and showed up to the city council meeting. Sure would like to have had a lot more folks, especially homeowners and those who are renting. It would be nice to have a complete house full, standing room only, so our voices are heard. Immediately right into the city council meeting, Mayor Kramer decided to give us some insight on how he felt in reference to Amendment 885 and this update of the 2024 codes for the building inspections, landlords and homes. And emotions are running pretty high, folks, on all of this. We're very passionate about it as far as making sure the city handles it correctly. They're very passionate about it by making sure we understand that they'll handle it correctly. And there's a lot of laundry that's getting aired back and forth on Facebook to boot. I'll be the first to admit that I posted some things this morning, but it was in response to me being the leading author or the owner of the Coldwater Scam Facebook page. Mr. Jeff O'Boyle, who you'll see here momentarily speaking, apparently thinks I'm the one behind the keyboard, that I'm the warrior behind the keyboard making all of these comments, or I'm the one who's behind it all, or whatever. Well, I've said in the past that I'm not. I do know the individual that is owner of that Facebook page. And based on my integrity with him, it would be unethical for me to reveal who he is because he's asked me not to. And so then, therefore, my word is a bond, and as it would be with anyone in the city of Coldwater, your word should be your bond. And so I'm keeping my word with him that I'm not going to reveal who he is. He'll do that on his own at an appropriate time. But what disturbed me, and I can understand, I get it, but what disturbed me is that Mr. O'Boyle thinks that I'm the one behind it, and threw a couple of insults or sarcastic statements my way, and that's irrelevant. I mean, what we're going to see is his discussion at the city council meeting. Now, let me set you up with this on the foundation. You notice I wear headphones, and it's kind of difficult for me to hear out of this ear. In fact, I've lost close to 70% of the capability of hearing out of that ear, and what I do hear is relatively muffled. And so while I'm sitting looking at the podium, if I turn my head, try to get a little bit more clear understanding of what's being said, and if I put my hand up to my ear, that's what I'm doing. On Monday night when Mayor Kramer was doing that, I was putting my hand up to my ear so I can get what he was saying, because I wanted to hear what he had to say, and it was difficult for me to hear. It's a little embarrassing, but you get older, you lose your hearing. was a DJ for a long, long time. Some of you know that, and this ear has gotten some damage. It's irreversible. So anyway, long story short, I I wanted to hear what this individual had to say when they got up and spoke. I got up and he got up, and quite frankly, I didn't know who he was. I had no clue who he was. In fact, when he got to the podium and he spoke after I spoke, I guess he announced his name, and I don't even remember him doing that until I reviewed the video of him speaking. And lo and behold, this morning, when I got up early and watched the video after reading some of the posts that were on Facebook last night, it's Jeff O'Boyle. Mr. O'Boyle is the husband and doctor. He's a doctor at his own clinic, and he's the husband of Amanda O'Boyle, our city attorney. So after I listened to him speak several times, picking apart his speech and analyzing the emotion that was behind it, I certainly could tell that he is quite contentious in reference to protecting his wife. Who wouldn't be? I mean, a man's honor is honoring his wife, and a man's honor to protect his wife is a admirable thing. I just didn't know it was even him. And when I looked at it this morning and listened to him speak and realized, put two and two together, it was him. Now, I even clapped for his speech out of courtesy because I didn't hear it hardly in the way that he spoke and how he spoke, and from the being muffled in the ear, it's very difficult. Some of the folks that get up there and speak slowly and loudly, I can hear them. If you get up there and you just race right into whatever it is that you're saying, it's difficult to understand for me to hear what you've got to say. And so it makes it difficult to even analyze it. But let's take a look at what Mr. O'Boyle said last night here quickly and see if we can't pick out some of the things that he said that that we need to be aware of.
Sure. Time to talk?
Hi.
Hi. My name is Dr. O'Boyle. Nice to meet everyone. Like many people here in the room across the city who view the meeting easily with the city-provided live stream, we don't tolerate different perspectives. We rely on it. But let's be clear on what...
Now, in his opening statement, it sounded as if he was making a statement that in these different perspectives, we rely on it. Now, Mr. O'Boyle was referring to himself as being part of the council or just part of the community, that we all should rely on different perspectives of each other, and we should hold each other accountable. And I would think that was probably the thing that he meant most of in making that description.
Dissent is not a permission for a fever dream. It's not license to trade reality for a narrative feels good simply because it's loud. When we replace the evidence...
Now here, Mr. O'Boyle gets a little sarcastic and starts describing how he feels the things that have been said about his wife and things that have been said online about Amendment 885. And he refers to it as being loud and a fever pitch or a fever dream. It's in the minds of those who obviously are uneducated to think anything different.
With an adrenaline rush and debate with a low rhythmic hum of a mob looking for a target.
We're not a mob looking for a target, Mr. O'Boyle. We don't need a target. We're just concerned citizens. I've been in the community since 1972, a lot longer than you and your wife have. And I know a lot of folks in this community. In fact, I know Ken Delaney, who works out at 16 TVB, where it was alleged that it was posted that they're the ones who outed me for the Coldwater scam page. And that's just false, because they would have not made that statement because they know I'm not, or they don't know who is. So I don't know if you're referring to them posting that or making that statement, or through their communications throughout the ordeal with this 885. Uh, they wouldn't have done that because I'm not the person.
We aren't practicing democracy in this city. We're practicing a blood sport.
So here, Mr. O'Boyle thinks that we're not practicing democracy, that we're practicing a blood sport. This is an indication that Mr. O'Boyle thinks that we are targeting his wife for a specific reason. Now, in just a few minutes, you're going to watch some information that I've discovered and uncovered in Lansing, Michigan, in regards to the same amendment of 885 that's going to be implemented or attempted to be implemented in the city of Coldwater. I don't go along making things up. I'm not the type of person to just want to start stirring the pot because I don't have nothing else better to do. I'm not an individual who's uneducated. I'm an educated man, the school of hard knocks. I didn't go to any medical school, nor have I ever obtained my license to practice law, although I've been told by numerous people throughout the years that I really missed my calling and should have been an attorney. So I'm slapping myself on the back here. But I don't belong to, nor are any of the individuals that I think are voicing their opinions in different flavors, different colors, different cultures of our society here in Coldwater, that are attempting to be a mob and trying to lynch you, Mr. O'Boyle, or Mrs. O'Boyle, our city manager. I believe that strongly, that we would. I'm not like that. And I don't see any evidence of that happening online. What I see here is a young man who's been offended that his wife has been somewhat or considered to be insulted, and that and as any man who loves his family and loves his wife, it would be his duty to stand up and defend her. And so I commend him for doing so, seriously. Just the choice of his words were offensive in trying to resolve the issue and making his voice heard at city council.
There's no right to intimidation tucked away in the Bill of Rights. There's no cause for implied violence for when the facts don't suit the mood. A mob doesn't seek truth, it seeks a victim.
So he might think that we're liberal, or that we're woke, or that we're DEI, and or that we're something, that we voted for Kamala Harris. But I can assure you, for me, that's none of that is transferable. I voted for President Trump both times, and I'll be voting for J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio in 2028. And in 2026, it'll be a red line vote to get the entire Democratic Party out of office, period. We don't even need them as far as I'm concerned. But that's not democracy, is it?
If it doesn't want an answer, it wants to perpetuate fear and blame so that others can pick up the cause.
So I want an answer, Mr. O'Boyle, and here, so does everybody else in town. We want answers to the decades-long complaints that have been made by many citizens before you and your wife arrived here in Coldwater, of our city council, members of our city council, previous members of the city council. I mean, you name it. There's so many bones that could be picked here, it's pathetic. And what you're going to see is examples of that very same thing here in just a few minutes in the video that I'm going to present to you.
And when we allow ourselves to be swept up in the frantic gravity of unverified and the unhinged, we lose the very thing that makes our questioning valuable, our reasoning.
So apparently, Mr. O'Boyle thinks that the information that's been brought forward has been, one, unverified, and two, unhinged. And so maybe he's watched some of the city council meetings. Maybe him and his wife have discussed it when they went home. I don't know. But I'm far from unhinged. I am passionate about what I believe in, and I'm far from unhinged. I don't I mean, I didn't spend any time in an asylum for insanity or for mental illness with, not that I can remember anyway, here in Coldwater throughout my life. Um, but I think here, excuse me, I think here what's happening once again is that Mr. O'Boyle, his integrity, his wife's integrity, and their pride has been bruised in reference to the things that have been said and the online posts that have been said. This is where I have some reservation of playing here the devil's advocate for Mr. O'Boyle and for Amanda, and that is that number one, Amanda's a very incredibly intelligent woman. She is. And of course, Mr. O'Boyle finished his college education to be a doctor. I don't know exactly what he does, but he's a doctor. So we got two individuals in our community who have great education. They bring a great tax base and they spend their money here, and they belong in our society just as much as anybody else has the right to be in here. What I look at is that in that mob mentality that you might think we might have is diversity in through all of it, and that all of us are inclusive with each other, that we're all treated equal, that we're all looked upon equal. I mean, there are folks in our society that are interested in politics that it would take them some time to be educated in order to be a part of it. And there are people who are already they're educated right up to the hill, and they want nothing to do with it. They just know how it turns out. And something like what's happening right now, where dirty laundry is being aired on Facebook, and it's just not worth it. So I'm listening. I want to listen to the rest of this, and I want to point out just one more thing after we listen to the rest of it.
So, Don, you taking notes over there? Take notes of this ending, okay?
This is where he turns into this is Papa Bear. He's mad, okay? He's upset, and rightfully so, defending his wife and his honor here in Coldwater.
We are better than our loudest, least informed constituents.
We are better than the loudest and least informed constituents. Now, I want you to take a look at that, listen to what that actually means. In other words, we, referring to him and who else would be in his circle, are better than any of us because we are less informed, and we're loud, and we are less informed. So we don't, the way that we think, the way that we present ourselves, our education, the way that we are as people, how we are in our personality and our character, all of that is looked upon by Mr. O'Boyle as being second class. And in any manner of any type of speech or any type of thing that you're trying to put across, in one breath you're saying that the community needs to come together and be a better community, that we can all be better about this, and then the other breath you're basically insulting those who are doing what they're doing to try to make the community better based upon what they see and what they've learned. So our viewpoints matter just as much as Mr. O'Boyle's does. And I'm not here to insult Mr. O'Boyle. I get it. I understand why he feels the way that he does. He's very passionate about what he believes and feels. So choosing the right words to make the statement and to do it in a manner where you're not as passionate or upset with makes a whole world of difference when it comes across to folks to understand. Let's listen to the end.
We owe it to the figures in our government to be smarter than the Facebook and Twitter algorithms that want us to be angry.
So the Facebook and Twitter algorithms that want us to be angry is another way of saying the people who are behind the keyboards, who is the mob trying to piss us off. Hang on here.
Means we should request the data. We should ask for answers, but we should do it with a hand-held civility, not with a fist clenched in a threat. The people in this building are, in fact, members of this community, just like everybody else. The city's employees work hard, such as restoring the power after a recent tornado in Union City. Their time spent volunteering to help public cleanup and other public events.
I don't know if Mr. O'Boyle did that. It makes him bringing that into the mix of his message to us or to anybody who was listening may indicate that he himself was a volunteer along with Amanda, but I don't know.
Keeping our communities safe and keeping the government run smoothly, which is frankly something our federal government could learn from.
Which is something, frankly, our fellow government can learn from. I'm not really sure who he's referring to, if he's referring to the previous administration of city council, or if he's referring to, I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Because once we trade the rule of law for the rule of the loudest out there, the fire doesn't stop to heat the house, it burns the house down.
So trading the rule of law for the rule of the loudest. So in other words, we're no different than the people standing on the corner with the protest signs screaming "No Kings." As ridiculous as some of these people look, in my opinion, and trying to prove that President Trump is a king and he's a dictator, or that's what they believe that he is, they're the loudest. They're not individuals that would be you couldn't deal with them as far as any type of democracy or conversation of democracy. You can't convince them. There's something wrong with them, and they're unfixable.
And I like to think here in Coldwater, Michigan, we're in the business of building a better future in Coldwater. Thank you.
Thank you.
His right there at the very end, his spatial expressions and his demeanor and how he held himself, he looked directly at his wife, and it was communicated through his eyes and his facial expression that he got to say what he wanted to say to defend her honor. That's my opinion. I'm an old guy. I'm not really that smart, but that's what I've seen. Okay, so we're going to watch some video of a 15-minute segment of what happened in Lansing, Michigan when the 2024 amendment, 2023 amendments was added to the red tag procedures in Lansing, Michigan. And during the majority of this, Ms. O'Boyle was the assistant city attorney when this was taking place, allegedly.
Meeting among top city officials. It is our top story tonight at 11. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sherry Jones. The new director for Lansing's Department of Economic Development and Planning met with members of the police department, the city's code enforcement and legal teams, and the mayor's office tonight. He says his office is taking steps to overhaul the rules governing rentals and other properties, and he plans to strictly enforce them. This comes as the city faces having hundreds of red-tagged, unsafe homes. Josh Sanchez followed along at City Hall tonight. Josh, what else do you know?
Well, Sherry, Director Jordan Hankwitz has been at the job for a few days now. He and other members from his office were brought into the city's Public Safety Committee tonight to answer a slew of questions. Many of the same questions come from an earlier meeting where council members grilled then interim Economic Development and Planning Director Barb Kimmel about the city's red tag issue.
Department of Economic Development and Planning's newest director took more than 20 questions from committee leaders that range from code enforcement officer workflow to what the timeline is for the city to catch up on rental inspections.
That's kind of a sliding scale because there could be some geographic areas that are a little further behind, some types of inspections that are a little bit further behind or less far behind.
What I'm wondering is how far behind is Coldwater? as we're entering into the possibility of adopting the Amendment 885. How far are we behind? Because I don't know. I've only seen one inspector, maybe two at the most, for the entire city of Coldwater.
Mr. Jordan Hanklitz says the city is 4 to 6 weeks behind rental inspections. Department officials say while it will take some time to get the inspections done, landlords can face penalties if they were to rent the unit before the city gets eyes on the home.
That's kind of serious right there, because once they start red tagging homes here in Coldwater, and that home is a converted home into an apartment community, and they put a red tag on, typically they'll put a pink tag and then they'll go to a red tag. That's what they were doing here. Some were so bad they bypassed the pink tag and went directly to a red tag. So this is found in the bylaws, or the descriptive manual that I posted online this morning, and I'll make it available again under the this will be live streamed to YouTube, the YouTube channel, but I'll place it in the comments so that you can also check it yourself. Where we have an issue with this amendment, and where I see the issue, the biggest part of it, is that, I mean, we all want to have safe homes. We all want to live in safe homes. And so we don't have to debate over that at all. So the IMPC codes that are implemented on the update for 2024 have specific upgrades and make things a little bit more streamlined and work in conjunction. Do you remember that award that the city of Coldwater received back in February? That award works hand in hand with this update of the 2024 codes. It streamlines everything for the city, and where we were becoming much more concerned about how it streamlines is the time frame. Now, Amanda Boyle, the city attorney, when she presented this the first time, didn't give an exact time frame. She said a homeowner or a landlord would be given up to 2 years. You'll find that that's not the case in Lansing, where she came from, and the implementation. Each city, I would imagine, is different, and it depends on, the homes and what's taking place. But that's far from what was done in the city of Lansing.
In terms of red tags, Hanklitz gave an updated number with 296 pink tags attached to rentals and 693 red tags on other unit doors. An earlier special meeting revealed employees lack the necessary skills to use the software to track code enforcement, something Hanklitz says now is being addressed.
So what he just got done saying is that these codes come with software, and they come with benefits. If you pay for it, you can train the supervisor who you're going to hire, who has to have knowledge of fire, electrical, plumbing, gas, and codes for homes. I mean, this would be an inspector, like what we have today, someone who comes in, but just in more stringent, that person would have to know the updated codes. Now, like manufacturers like Richcraft over in Jonesville, Michigan, and Clayton Homes over in Middlebury, they have complete departments, and they have independent inspectors that come in and inspect the homes unannounced, making sure that the homes are being built in compliance to this code. The electrical, the fire alarms, how they're tied together, the electrical and the type of electrical connections that they're using, the base itself or the amperage, the plumbing, it all has codes. It all has to be built by code. The design of it is irrelevant, but when it goes into the house, it has to be built with a code. So these codes cost housing, manufacturing, anywhere between 11 to 15% more tacked onto the price of the house because of the time that it consumes, the labor you have to spend, in order to have someone smart enough to know what the codes are and then be continually trained. And that's where this happened with Lansing, is that when these codes were enacted, they basically obviously fell back on the same thing that they were doing before, thinking all they had to do was write red tags on houses that were not livable. And they didn't take for 1 minute the fact that when they did that and tagged the house, that the people who lived inside are being told, you can't go back in there. It's not a livable dwelling to go in. So you have to stay out. Oh, I mean, where do you go? All your belongings are in there. I mean, it's like it's taboo. It's you know, you're going to get a disease if you walk in to get what you need or whatever. I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but that's exactly pretty much what was going on in Lansing at this time. And as we're going to see, things didn't get a whole lot better. Now, here in Coldwater, things will be a little bit different. I mean, there's 50,000 homes in the city of Lansing. They're just a little under around, I think around 6,000 in the city of Coldwater. Now, I made a statement at the city council that nearly 30% of those homes are predated 1939 when they were manufactured. So, depending on the individual who they hire, depending on how they train them, they're going to have to backwards compatible train an individual or hire someone who's got the experience of knowing what code and what wiring and what's okay, what can be tolerated inside a home that's that old. And if they find that it's not up to code as far as how it's positioned, where it needs to be, if the outlets are wrong, there's bare wire, whatever. That electrical is incredibly serious, and plumbing would be too. If they've got all lead pipes and you got lead inside the water, and then when it comes to the structural part of the house, your foundation, all of it is really, really important. And they'll check on those things. Now, once they check on them and they find that there's a violation and that needs to be fixed, Amanda O'Boyle, our city attorney, made the statement that homeowners and landlords would be giving up to 2 years to fix the problem. Let's see if that's what happened in Lansing.
A big concern of the committee was better information sharing between city departments, renters, and the council. Moving ahead, both Hankwitz and Lansing Police Captain Katie Deal say they are in talks to find the best way to make shareable red tag database.
People that are at the table now are truly committed to getting this right. If we continue to work collaboratively, we certainly will bring that ball across the goal line. I think
Now, Councilmember Hussein says the Public Safety Committee has been tasked with learning more about the city's red tags and bringing that information to the council at least once a month. Sherry?
Good evening. I'm David
Thank you,
Andrews.
Josh.
Ann is off tonight. Over the last 30 days, 37 more apartments in Lansing have gone from pink to red tagged, meaning they're unsuitable for living and tenants have to move out immediately. Lansing City Council's Public Safety Committee met this afternoon with updated numbers and some possible solutions to the red tag crisis that is going on in Lansing right now. News 10's Jordan Burrell was at that meeting. Jordan?
David, this afternoon it was revealed that there are nearly 700 red tag units and 300 more properties that are pink tagged in Lansing. The council's Public Safety Committee is working with other city departments to find some resolution for these properties.
We have new leadership in that department, but the old leadership and the old questions are still, not getting answered.
This I find this interesting because when he made the comment, we have new leadership in the department. I'm wondering who headed that up during the 2023-2024 time frame. Mr. O'Boyle came to Coldwater in 2024. I think it was April of 2024. But prior to that, She was in Lansing, I think, 2 or 3 years, 4 years, something of that nature. And I don't know if this was her brainchild or not, it's being introduced here in Coldwater by her. But I don't know if she was sitting on the board or if she was part of it. I have no way of knowing. I don't know, unless I would call Lansing to have them tell me. The similarities are strikingly, though, in reference to what it is that they were attempting to do.
That was why we keep having these meetings, over and over again for updates, because a lot of answers are still not coming forward.
So it sounds like to me what they did is they got the updates on the code. They didn't purchase the software, which obviously probably cost literally thousands of dollars to do. And they based the training on kind of a fly-by-nighttime thing by your pants to teach the supervisor and then hire the code taggers to properly tag the house. And we'll find out here in just a few minutes, but that's not what was happening.
Tuesday afternoon, Lansing City Council's Public Safety Committee met to discuss the ongoing red tag issue in Lansing. Pink and red tags are placed on properties that have been deemed non-compliant by the city. Pink tags are used as a warning, meaning the property owner must fix whatever makes the property unsafe over the next 30 days.
The important thing about what she said was non-compliant. Not that it was a property that needs to be demolished, as was mentioned by Mr. Kramer, our city mayor, in his opening statement on the 30th. This is homes that are not in compliance, pink tagged, and then escalated to a red tag if it's not fixed.
After 30 days, if the issue is not fixed, the property will be red tagged and deemed unsafe to enter, and tenants must leave the property immediately.
Did you hear that? That's what we've been saying all along with I'm going to take the jab because I can, with our misinformed and unhinged algorithm.
Councilmember Ryan Koss says he is disappointed with how the meeting went and wants real answers for residents in a timely manner.
We didn't get a solid answer on that. You heard, sometime in the near future. And I'm going to press for dates. We need times, dates. We need something. We have to be accountable to the people that elected us.
So then I think what he was referring to here is the time and dates of how long they have to fix it, and then how long before they're being told to move out of their own homes.
And that includes safe housing.
With other public safety concerns discussed in the meeting, City Council President Carol Wood questions city operations on the ability to fix these issues as soon as possible.
We've got this issue, the red tagged issue. So if we can't take care of that, just getting the frickin' bins off the curb, does anyone have any faith that we're going to get this done? They have none. Absolutely none.
So she's referring to the city of Lansing and the numerous, literally hundreds of complaints that were filed online on Facebook from people who were involved in watching this transpire on the news, and then how it blew up as a frenzy on the news and how they covered it and made people incredibly worried about whether or not they're going to have a home to come home to.
The Economic Development and Planning Department will be working with Lansing Police to continue to enforce red tag properties and moving tenants out. The city.
Notice she said working with the police. Now, again, once it escalates to a point to where the city comes to you and says, you need to get out of your home, we've red tagged it, you have to move out. If you refuse to do so, then the city has no other choice but to go to a judge here in town, which would be biased based on the ordinance, because you're breaking the ordinance of basically breaking the law with what they've done when they've tagged your home. And a judge will give the city the okay to remove you from the home immediately. This is not an eviction. This is not a 7-day notice to quit, 30-day cooling off period. It's immediately. So then the city would contact either the city police department and or the county. They'd show up at your house, knock. If you're home, great. If not, too bad. They'll walk in, they'll take your stuff, and they'll move it to the street.
The City of Lansing is still pursuing legal action towards landlords that have red tag properties.
Pink
with
tags
tenants still
are also
living.
going down. And I think one thing that I learned pretty quickly as well with my director, it's not so much the number of red tags, it's that duration that they stay on the list.
It's been 3 months since Nicholas Montre has been on the job as the Deputy Director of Lansing's Economic Development and Planning Department. This spring, City Council members pressed employees about hundreds of red tags that were left unchecked for years. During that same meeting, the then interim director of the department said people were not properly trained on the software used to track code violations.
So it sounds like Lansing had some real issues with the software and the code violations and the individuals that were hired to go and red tag the houses. So this really blew out of control. So I'm hoping that our city council and Ms. O'Boyle are watching this video, because this will give you a heads up of what shouldn't happen in Coldwater. If they're going to get the software, then train the individuals accordingly so that they know what they're doing. There's still going to be some hiccups. There's still going to be some problems, but train the individuals to know what they're doing. Now here in Lansing, they had multiple repeats of red tags, and it blew their inventory. It exaggerated the inventory too high. So they made some leeway on it and was able to reduce the amount of red tags were there because they were either repeated or repetitiously added into the software, into the account of the software. So it all boils down to is that you're going to have to hire a supervisor, and with 6,000 homes, if you're going to stay on top of it, probably between 4 to 6 red taggers who would come out throughout the city and to effectively either pink tag or red tag homes and make sure that in a timely fashion that they're taken care of. Now, we haven't got to that part yet, but we will here. Hang on.
They were not filing reports properly, and some violations were added more than once. Now, under new leadership, Montre says employees are trained up and set to tackle the red tag crisis, which stands at...
We have 618, our pink tag numbers at 289.
Both numbers have gone down in the past 3 months. Another positive, a new system gives police officers the latest list of red tag properties to help with safety and make sure code orders are followed.
That gives an officer some clarity on the situation if it is a red tagged home and how long it's been tagged.
Lansing City Council member Ryan Cost is on the committee tasked with following improvements at code enforcement. He says the work is getting places like this house off the red tag list after nearly 7 years and in front of a demolition board, one of the last options for code violating properties.
We're starting to close the gap on the time from red tag to fixed.
So one of the last options, if it is the last option, and you can see this property, it's really not in the best of shape. It's got a big old hole there at the top. It's got, looks like it's got some windows that are boarded up. So it looks like it's abandoned. And we don't have hardly anything like that here in Coldwater. We do have a ton of homes that need to be repaired and cosmetically be fixed up, but we don't have anything like that I'm aware of.
He's glad there's been clear collaboration between city leaders and department heads, but there's still some work left.
I want to get to a code department that is being proactive instead of reactive to the issues.
We need more affordable and attainable housing.
Lansing Mayor Andy Shore says he is taking steps to fix the affordable housing crisis. Good evening, I'm Ann Emmerich. David is off tonight. Lansing is not alone in its lack of affordable housing. It is a problem across the nation. News 10's Jordan Burrell tells us how Lansing will benefit from a new program.
And Lansing is one of the 11 cities across the nation chosen to participate in this new program.
Now, this new program is pretty interesting, but unfortunately it doesn't put any money into the pocket of the city to help with its residents.
It's all about identifying resources to build and preserve homes for people with low incomes can afford.
So identify buildings and homes where people who have low income can afford. Now, here in the city of Coldwater, we don't have any low income housing except new ones that are built. The lofts is based on income. There'll be 68 units on the new apartment community that's being built which will be owned and ran by the management company for Clemens, and that'll be their third one. And so there'll be, I think, 68 units available for low income there. And based on current rent rates, gasoline for your car insurance, car payments, kids' school clothes, paying the light bill, the heat bill, car insurance. If you're not a two working family, mom and dad both working, at least $45,000 to $60,000 a year, you're not going to be able to hold your head above water. You're still considered, if it's just one family income, let's say $45,000, $50,000 a year, you're considered pretty much poverty. That's the new poverty. I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, in 1977, when I graduated from high school, I made $2.35 an hour minimum wage. So it's incredibly difficult with the cost of housing. On an average, a brand new home, entry-level homes are brand new, are between $240,000 and $300,000 to purchase. That's a lot of cabbage. Do the math. Those are $2,000 a month plus house payments. That's crazy. So it's unsustainable in a culture of society that we live in our small town. Now, I said all that to say this. Landlords who own these older homes were renting them out 3 and 4 years ago at $700, $800 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. Once they took the home, renovated, and turned it into an apartment. When Clemens moves in, all that changes. Clemens charges $1,300 a month for the new apartments that were built. And they were filled relatively very quickly, not with citizens from Coldwater who wanted a better place to live with all the amenities that the apartments offered, but with the employees of Clemens. If you were an employee, you were hired, you were an immigrant, either from Mexico or Haiti, didn't matter where, you were an immigrant and you wanted to come to this country and you wanted to work for Clemens, it was orchestrated to allow you to do that, allegedly. And then once you get here, you live in the Super 8 hotel, which is a room that has got a shower. It's next to Walmart, so you can go buy stuff to eat. And you don't have to, and if you don't have a vehicle, which most asylum seekers don't have, it's walking distance to get your groceries, which is really nice. So the old Red Roof Inn houses all these folks in a transitional period. Once they go to work for Clemens and they've worked for 3, 4, 5 weeks, a month, 2 months, I don't know how long it is, then they transition into an apartment, but it's all payroll deducted. None of that benefited the city of Coldwater except for those who came here as immigrants to go to work for Clemens. It benefited them. And it hosed the rest of us who pay rent. Literally hosed us because landlords rose their rents horribly to match the market rate that these immigrants are being charged at Clemens. So now the rooster has come home to the landlords because a lot of these homes that are in Coldwater are owned by landlords. They rent them out. A lot of them. And if they've been uncompliant for months or years, that's all going to change. And if they're uncompliant to a point to where it's a severe infraction, then their money is gone for a month, 2 months, 3 months, however long it takes to fix the home. And if they can't get it fixed and they want to just walk away from it, they can. If they own it outright, they can walk away from it and let the city have it, and then we'll demolish it at the owner's expense. Mr. Kramer said that it costs a lot of money to demolish houses. Well, not anymore. According to the 2024 update, it's permissible for you to put a lien on the home even if the owner walks away, and that lien is collecting the cost of taking the home down in demolition.
We do have a crisis here. We have a major crisis in Lansing. I've lived here my entire life. I've never seen it this bad.
Lansing will be one of the first cities in America to pilot a program aimed to help U.S. cities with the affordable housing crisis.
It's an incredible opportunity for Lansing, and we're going to take advantage.
The city will not get any money. Instead, it will get new real estate technology to identify where it can revitalize old land and homes.
So this takes a lot of things, and it puts it all together in a software, in a program, and it helps for decision making to make sure that we can use our limited resources for the best good, and in this case, to help preserve or create affordable housing.
Kelsey Brienne, an affordable housing advocate, says this tool is a step in the right direction.
The biggest thing right now in regards to housing is affordable housing. Housing is such a barrier for thriving, period. And we fundamentally believe that when you have affordable housing, you're able to thrive.
And if people can't thrive, the city has a hard time thriving too.
I mean, we have over 600 red tag homes. A lot of times the city will want these developers to come in, but we have so much housing that's just sitting vacant.
So the same thing could happen here if the city council doesn't perform these functions correctly and they don't get it right the first time out of the gate. If they hire a supervisor who has 3 or 4 red taggers, they don't learn the software, and they go out and make the same mistake that Lansing's made, then we're in a world of trouble, because it's going to affect the economy locally. It's going to affect the economy of downtown. It's going to affect the economy of the entire county. If people move out and they ain't got a place to go, they're going to move away from the city. Maybe they'll go to a neighboring city that they'll be able to be housed, and they won't come back. Speculation can run wild. The bottom line is that the city is going to definitely lose a lot of revenue if they don't handle this correctly right out of the box.
We have these amazing historical homes. You know, Lansing has some amazing historical places, but also places where families have had their homes for generations, and that it still has good bones to it.
Lansing housing advocates are asking people to join them during State House committee meetings to further push affordable housing at the Capitol. We will have more information linked within this story on our website.
The issue here in Lansing continues to grow, impacting more and more residents.
I feel like I've been robbed.
You may remember Brian Douglas from a story we did earlier this week.
Now, this poor guy, he is standing in front of his apartment that he can't get into. You'll notice there's a red tag there on the window. So he goes to an apartment community who says, pay us $1,000, $1,500, whatever it is, to move in. And he moves in, and they tell him, or he sees the red tag on the window. He says, it's red tag. They said, don't worry about it. It's been there for quite a while, and it's going to take them a while to even get here. Just go ahead and move in. Give us the money, move in. Well, that's not how it worked, because once they found he had occupancy of the home, they, meaning city council and the police, they immediately removed him and locked him out. And he's out the money that he paid for a deposit and his rent. And now he can't go get another apartment, so he's homeless. So anyone, including Mr. O'Boyle, who says that we are unhinged and misinformed, is a liar. Because we are informed, we have been all along, we've known this information all along. Once we read the ruling of the amendment, 2024 amendment, the red flags started going off, all the red lights started going off all over the place. With me, I've been a builder of homes for 15 years, worked for Clayton Homes, and then also Ritz-Craft Homes. So I know a little bit about code, and how much red tape there is involved in it and what can happen when it's not followed. We've had at Clayton Homes, we've had homes that were sent out the door, went 1,000 miles away, and the code was violated because somebody forgot to put something in the home and had to drive there with a crew to fix it. 1,000 miles away. So I'm no stranger to code at all. I'm not. I can tell you this much, that the 2024 is worse than any of them in its predecessor as far as making sure it garners the right amount of information and the right amount of time. This is what they suggest the time is. I've been saving this for last. Hang on.
The Autumn Ridge resident says he's been stressed after finding this red tag placed on his unit.
They just moved me in, made me think everything was fine and dandy, knowing full well months before they ever moved me in that the place was condemned.
The city of Lansing said Autumn Ridge has 26 red tag units and that the whole building is pink tagged. But Autumn Ridge dismissed the city's claims, saying there are only 7 red tag units and those units aren't occupied by tenants. But
so here we have an argument that's going to play its way out with the city and with the owner of the apartment community, stating that they don't have as many that they state were red tagged. We have more than likely only 5 or 6 or 7 units that are unoccupied, which allows them to go ahead and rent out the other ones that may be red tagged improperly. As it turns out, what happened is that the majority of these red tags were red tagged improperly by the folks in the field.
this lease Douglas provided us with says otherwise. Since doing the story, we've gotten a lot of complaints from residents about Autumn Ridge. Most coming from social media.
Now, here's where it gets a little bit different. Let me check my phone real quick. This is where it gets a little bit different. And here we do have legitimate complaints of residents and the unappropriated misfortune of landlord of this apartment community not maintaining the apartments in good standing. This lady will explain to you what's been wrong with hers and others too. So this works both ways. I mean, if you're living somewhere where a landlord's not fixing the things that you have told or pointed out, and they are a violation of Michigan compiled laws for a landlord, then this code update is definitely for you. It will force the landlord to update the home and make it more compliant. The downside of that is that because you complained about it, your rent might be raised $500 a month, and you're going to have to move anyway.
We have dealt with mice infestations, bed bugs. When I say rodents, I stood on my porch and saw a raccoon looking down at my grandbaby, you guys.
Some of the complaints even came along with pictures like these that show destroyed parking garages, scattered trash, and boarded up windows.
I want them to know that this is not okay to do to people.
But red tagging isn't just an issue at Autumn Ridge. It's a problem that's been lingering in Lansing for quite some time. We're told Lansing currently has over 700 red tags placed.
It's unacceptable.
So I think that this might have been something that was present, or part of it was present when Ms. O'Boyle took the position of assistant city attorney. It might have already been there. And either 2024 or 2023 at that time would have been 2022 or 2023 amendments would have been added, and nobody knowing how to use the software where it kind of blew out of control. But I see that there's a possibility, allegedly, that she might have been there when all this was going on, and it might have been pretty overwhelming.
And we should stop beating around the word of landlord, because I've seen these properties, they're slumlords.
Councilman Ryan Cause has been vocal about addressing the red tag issue since the beginning of his term.
If something is red tagged, to me that's an emergency situation.
And Cause says what makes the situation even worse is a lot of landlords are still renting out the red tag units, even though it's technically illegal. 2 weeks ago, the city's code enforcement went to check out about 50 red tag locations, and out of those, tenants were staying in at least 10 of them.
It's unacceptable that we allow these folks to show such disregard for human life.
But now the city is cracking down on landlords who rent out red tag units, saying there could be a $500 fine and up to 93 days in jail attached to the crime. And as Lansing continues to try and address the issue, residents impacted by it are just asking for one thing.
People want to know what I need. I need some place that's safe, that I can call my own, that can house me and my children and my stuff.
Reporting here in Lansing, I'm Larry Wallace, Fox 47
Focus
News.
on ethics and transparency turned into a legal showdown. 4 board members were served with a lawsuit during this meeting, accusing them of making decisions out of public view.
Now, here we go. This is something a little bit different. I added this for some spice. This is about 4 city council members that were called on the carpet and sued, and then a petition to recall their positions was issued, and that they violated the Public Open Acts amendment law, whatever you want to call it. I'll just let this lady explain it.
News Channel 3's Abigail Taylor was at that meeting tonight and joins us live in the studio with the response from those council members. Abigail?
Yeah, Jess, the plaintiff behind this lawsuit tells me she's seeking fines against 4 Comstock board members, as well as an injunctive relief or court's order that something has to change, she says, to rebuild community trust.
The Comstock Township Board called a special meeting to review a FOIA appeal from a resident and to get a review in ethics from their attorney.
If you abide by these standards, these 4 ethical standards, you're probably going to keep yourself out of trouble.
The officials say the meeting centering on building transparency and trust was planned, but it took an unexpected turn.
And by the way, I got to serve 4 of you for meeting at the wrong place at the wrong time.
During public comment, legal papers inside yellow envelopes handed over to 4 board members, Clerk Nicole Beauchamp and trustees Christy Cherry, Bob Pratt, and Terry McGyver.
No, don't forget. No. Yep, sure you don't.
So here this guy had enough guts to bring the lawsuit papers to the city council meeting to deliver them personally to the individuals that were being sued for recall.
You're not doing that. This is not the place to do this. Of course it is. No, it's not. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, no, it's not.
The lawsuit, Smith versus Comstock Charter Township board members, alleges the 4 officials violated Michigan's Open Meetings Act.
Anything about the township and public business is done transparently and openly in accordance to law with the Open Meetings Act. This was not done.
Smith claims she witnessed the 4 board members coming out of a law office together earlier this month.
We're not depriving them of a right to have legal counsel. We are depriving them of the right to violate the Open Meetings Act by doing it together when they're discussing township business, aka a recall that they're all being subject to at the same time.
So I would wonder, of course, I don't know how she found that out, but city council members are not allowed to discuss the business outside the city council in private, to reach a decision ahead of time and then present it to the board in the public, and then all in favor say aye, those who are opposed, nay. So that's what she's calling, that's what the petition's for, is to recall them from their position because they violated the Open Public Act of Michigan.
The recall against the clerk and 3 trustees advanced by the Kalamazoo County Election Commission in December. Residents behind the recall pointing to a perceived pattern of votes against the community's wishes, particularly advancing a battery energy storage system in the township.
So if you caught that, that was what she was saying, is that there was a continuous pattern of rubber stamping every item that came across city council, even after citizens came forward and gave their claims.
Failure to act ethically can provoke a recall.
As far as the recall, residents will decide on that through a petition with a set amount of signatures. As far as the lawsuit, that will come from a judge. After the meeting, I asked all 4 board members for a response to the recall against them and the folder they'd been served. Here's part of Trustee Christy Cherry's response.
Not even totally sure what's in the envelope tonight, so I don't want to comment on that.
Sure.
The recall is probably not the best thing. We are trying to work together for the better of the township, but yes, if you have questions, please reach out.
Trustee McIver says he'll look into it. Trustee Pratt and Clerk Beauchamp both declined to comment.
The attorney noted during that presentation that those code of ethics are not rule of law for the township, suggesting that they adopt their own policy and fines for violations. Smith says her lawsuit isn't based on township law or any kind of policy. She says it's supported by the state constitution. Live in the studio, Abigail Taylor, News Channel 3.
That's all we got for you, folks, tonight on that video, and gives you a better idea of some of the things that have taken place, a little bit more realism to what could happen here in the city of Coldwater. Any type of similarities could be drawn as far as a conclusion allegedly could happen. Not saying it's going to, but it could. And if it does, and it could be your family or you being put to the street because of where you live. My name is Mike Parker. This is Branch County Conservative Patriot. Until next time, thank you.